Mark, a few days on from that defeat to Hull KR, but you mentioned after the game you were very, very proud of the performance. How do you reflect on it a few days later?
Yeah, definitely proud in terms of how we went about as business. I thought, when you dissected the game and the 8 tries that we conceded, I think there were one where OKR had, undone us through good play, and I thought the others we could have probably held a better account of ourselves, either through giving them easy field position through someone coming up with a penalty or a yardage error, and gifting a team OKR's quality that sort of field position and possession is going to punish you. And then the other ones were just one-on-one missed tackles, under a bit of stress. So we've been looking at them. So as I said, definitely proud of the effort, but in terms of our own application and the zone standards that we want to hit, we definitely got some improvement to do coming into Sunday.
You must take a lot of kind of learning lessons and a lot of positives from that as well, though. From that side of things, it must give you a lot of areas, as you said, to obviously work on, and areas to identify to really kind of sort out going into this championship opener.
Yeah, 100%. And when you play a team of that calibre, it exposes, where you're probably weaker, and sometimes you need that test to stress test where you're at, and we definitely got that. So, yeah, proud. As I say, I thought for 30 minutes or so we were. We were still on the back foot, but we were there. And then I thought OKR's quality showed, as they brought that bench on especially, and just up the tempo a little bit. So it's definitely a lot of lessons that we can learn. I thought one lesson we can take from KR is definitely the composure they showed. Didn't go chasing that scoreboard. They just kept nice and clinical in what they were doing and waited for us to fault. And, ultimately we did fault. So definitely a lot of lessons that we can take going into Sunday.
You did have a couple of opportunities to cross the white line. Yeah. Joe Brown and Holyfield went close. Was that maybe the one frustration that you didn't give the 5,000 crowd there something to cheer about in scoring a try at home?
Yeah, it's one of them when we're a bit throttled for possession down in their half, as you'd expect when you've got a team from that division above going against you. And listen, it's really easy when I'm reviewing a game to press the space bar and slow it down and go, could you have done this, could you have done that? But, in the heat of the moment, these things happen. And it'd be nice to get a couple of tries on the score sheet, but I thought, you've also got to give a bit of credit to OK. I thought the 79th minute probably summed it up for me with their loop D, when I think it was Brownie in the corner, wasn't it?
Two things that did kind of come up post-match. Mikey Lewis and Tom Davis both got cited by the match review panel. Yeah. I think one of those was for actually the challenge on Holyfield when he was going in for the try. Is that a frustration that wasn't picked in up during the game, or are we kind of splitting hairs a bit?
Yeah, listen, I think it's one of them. We give as good as we got. Some collisions happen in a game. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I know they're under a lot of pressure already. But yeah, like you play a contact sport, contact's going to happen, and sometimes in a split second it's going to go wrong. I don't think there were any malice in any of the tackles. I know McLaurin and Macra had a little tit for tat, but as I said, that's all it is. I don't think we want to get into an habit where you're getting 20 sightings per game and you're getting 3 points, you're getting this, you're getting that. It's just, I don't know. We need to probably reevaluate where we're at a sport with that. And if there's genuine foul play and someone's gone in with intent to harm, without any applications to try to stop it, and it's obvious, then that needs pulling up. But if you're playing a game and, for example, someone's hit someone but they've wrapped around slightly late, in a split-second decision, that's hard not to do in that game. And I don't think we can get to a point where every single challenge is getting analysed, because you're going to end up with more players banned than actually playing more often than not.
You were without Joe Law and Levi Edwards, didn't make the 18. How are they both doing ahead of this weekend?
Levi's fine. We just didn't want to risk him with 2 games in 5 days. If I'm honest with you, coming off back of his lengthy layoff, we've got to look after him as much as anything. I mean, Levi wanted to play, but sometimes you've got to save the player from themselves. And Joe's got he's got a bit of a strange one at the moment. He's been getting knee pain for about a month or 2 months, and we got him X-rayed just to be safe. And he's got I want to say an avulsion fracture in his knee. So we've probably dodged a bullet there by not making it a lot worse. So I think he'll be out 4 to 6 weeks with that. So he'll be out for that long.
And any other concerns coming from the Hull KR game?
No, everyone got through fine. You know, everyone seems to, well, touch wood, everyone seems to have got through okay. You know, Fieldy's got a nice little scar. Apart from that, I think everyone's got through pretty cool.
And you've got obviously competitions for places. What selection dilemmas are you kind of weighing up ahead of this weekend as well? Because you have got more competition for places. I think especially in that centre position, maybe you've got a lot more options than you certainly did last year.
Yeah, listen, I think it's how you want your team, and there's definitely some headaches. I'm pretty set on the starting 13. It's just how you make that bench up, if I'm honest with you too. So yeah, it's not a bad position to be in. I'd rather have these sort of headaches than you know, the other one, put it that way.
Jude Ferreira is one player in the sense that maybe we haven't seen yet, but as a young player, has he got to kind of bide his time and do the right things in training, the good things that you preach as a professional?
Yeah, I had a chat with Jude just before the KR game, and he's not far off. He missed the first 2 weeks of pre-season due to the injury that he sustained at the back end of Hunslet's campaign, so he was playing catch-up a bit there, but he's not far off his Jude, and he showed some really nice touches in training, so I think definitely over this next 4-week period you'll see him feature at some point.
Okay. Looking ahead to then Sunday in Oldham, what challenges do they present? What obviously, you know, Sean Long, who's in charge there, they've recruited well by the looks of it as well. Yeah,
I think they're a really dangerous team, if I'm honest with you. I think they've recruited great. Obviously, they've got Matty Ashurst and Elijah Taylor in them back rows, and then, you know, I know Phoenix has just signed there now, so they've got a bit of a dilemma. Do they go Phoenix at fullback, and then do they go Drinkwater and Riley Dean, or do they go Craven in there too? So I think they've got strike throughout the park. They've signed really well. You know, Adam Milner's signed, who can offer a lot of ball play through that middle. You know, they've got Dodson, the twins are there. You know, Matty Wildy's nice. So we're very well. I even spoke about their edges there. So we know there's some play there, but I know what Long is about too. He's all about that effort-based stuff. So we're expecting a very tough 80 minutes. You know, we've had a look at them and where we feel we can expose them. They'll have watched us against Hull KR and probably seen, well, I know they'll have seen some areas that they feel they can expose us. So, yeah, I think it's got all the makings for a real high-end quality championship game, because I think Oldham will be right up there in the mix. I think they're well coached. They've got some really good players, and you know, it's definitely a game we're looking forward to and one we relish in.
Mike Ford's come in there, and you would imagine that he's an ambitious man. He wants the best for that club, and a club that historically haven't really got to the areas in the Super League where they've been kind of striving for. Historically, a very well supported club as well. Being an ambitious club, that's got all the makings. Similar sort of in that respect to York, in that they have ambitions to go beyond where they are at the moment.
Yeah, I think how Oldham set about their ambition last year, and how they've you know, put a strategic plan together is, you know, really, really good for the game. And I think Mike's obviously got a vision and is executing that. And now, you know, Oldham's a proud rugby league town with a rich heritage in it, and a lot of quality players have come from there. So yeah, it's pleasing to see. You know, I think they're very similar in a parallel to us in where we want to go. So yeah, well, listen, I think the whole organisation's had a bit of a refit, hasn't it? And I think with Longy at the helm, they're going to be a very well coached team. You know, we're expecting a very tough battle, and as I said, you know, we'll prepare well for it, and we'll back ourselves, and we're expecting a very tough game.
I guess always at this time of year, conditions play a part. A boundary park, and we know that it can get cold up there as well, and be referred to as ice station zebra at points. But is that an additional kind of factor to this game?
I suppose if you're watching it, you know, it can be a bit cold, but it's literally same for both teams. You know, it'll be 17 players versus 17 players. So yeah, we'll be aware of the weather if needed. You know, for example, if it's due to be forecasting gales or torrential rain, things like that, obviously you factor that in. But apart from that, you expect it at this time of year. You know, you can't play rugby league in England in these winter months and expect anything other than a cold, wet day, really, can you?
Yeah. Looking at the championship as a whole, this season, do you agree it's maybe one of the most open championships that there's been for some time?
Yeah, well, definitely since I can remember the championship, for sure. I think, you know, you could argue that maybe Bradford's spent big. Obviously, Featherstone's spent pretty big. But in terms of the squad qualities throughout, I'd say there's 10 or 11 teams that can be looking at thinking we've got a chance there. And that's not doing disrespect to anyone. I just think it's genuinely such an open league. And last year I didn't think there were any teams that you could take easy. I don't think you can take easy. That's probably the wrong word, but I think anyone on the day can beat anyone if your standards are where they need to be. So I think the message that I'll be sending out to my players especially is, listen, we need to be at its best every single week. Don't think there's going to be a game where you can go in and dip your toe and expect anything other than being burned. So it's the sort of competition you want to be involved in terms of it's going to test you every single week as a coach and as a player, and hopefully that'll transfer into some entertaining games for a neutral to watch.
Who do you think will be maybe the 5 or 6 teams that kind of break away? I mean, you look at Toulouse, they've retained well.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of players that you've retained well, and I think have only kind of upskilled from where you were last season. You've mentioned obviously Bradford with their heavy investment as well. Yeah,
listen, we were on about this a month ago. I genuinely could not tell you. I think injuries are going to play a part. Who can get a bit of luck and keep the best teams out on that field? Because like anything, if you lose 4 or 5 of your strike players, it has an impact. So I suppose that'll kind of factor in that. But I don't think there is 4 or 5 teams that will break away. I genuinely think it will be very nip and tuck for most of the year, and I think it's the team that's going to be the most consistent, or the team, should I say, that are the most consistent over the 20-odd rounds are going to be the top 6. I don't think there's going to be a massive margin between whoever finishes first and whoever finishes 6th or 7th, if I'm honest with you. I think it'll be that tight.
Yeah. Speaking to the chairman this week, he says he'll be disappointed if the Knights don't win it. Obviously, that's just the high standards that he's got and he expects from this club. Do you kind of share his view?
Yeah, I think everyone's in it. I've never set out at the start of a league campaign. You know what sort of squad you've got. I think we've got a squad that can be competing for it for sure. We won't hide away from the fact we want to be up there in the mix, and we think we've got a squad, if we can keep it fit and capable, that's capable of winning on us for sure. And I'm sure there's another 7 or 8 teams that are going to be saying exactly the same thing. But we're not too worried about the outcome in terms of the end of the season yet. It's really important we just focus on the start of the season. I think traditionally over the last couple of years we haven't had a great start. It's something that we spoke about as a playing group and a coaching group. How can we address it? So we'll be looking at that, and then as I said, not getting too ahead of ourselves either way, just taking it week by week and trying to get a certain level of consistency with his own performance. And I think if you do that, the rest takes care of itself, doesn't it?
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Cheers.
Hi, Mash.
Hiya.
The opportunity to play against Hull KR, obviously, last Friday night. For young players such as Gannon, Field, how much of a learning curve can that be for them especially?
Yeah, definitely. I think it were a learning curve for everyone in terms of you playing. I think they have got the current man of steel, and they've got international players scattered throughout their team. So for players aspiring to play at that level, it were a good test of where they're at and what they need to do to get to that level themselves. So I think it were a great learning opportunity. But as I said, there were some areas that we felt we let ourselves down on. Regardless who we're playing, we've got high standards for ourselves, and we want to correct them going into this week.
And now that the friendly against Hull KR, the Challenge Cup game against Hull KR, match against Keighley as well, now all that's out of the way, the excitement for the Championship season can start to begin. Have you been pleased with what you've seen prior to this start of the Championship season? Yeah,
I thought there were some pleasing signs in the Hull KR friendly at Amsterdam. I thought there were some good aspects of his games there. Keighley were really clinical from us, shall we say, and then KR probably give us a bit of a leveller that we needed going into the start of the year, just to, as I've just said, expose us in certain areas that we need to polish up on. So, I think we've had a good pre-season. Now we're into the proper, the league campaign. I think it needs to go up another notch or two, and we need to get that consistency about his game and make sure that, we are just looking at a game going, we need to fix this up, and we're actually fixing it up and turning them, them fix-ups into points.
Having spoken to Jesse last week, and he spoke about the sort of togetherness within the group. First of all, how important do you think that is in terms of how the outcome of the season will be?
I think it's massive. I think the more together your group is, and the more they enjoy each other's company, the the more it's going to show in terms of how you play rugby league. Now, you don't all have to be best friends, but there's got to be a certain level of interaction there. I think we're lucky at York that we've had a real tight group. It really impressed me when I came in. I think the players that's come in have added to that. I think they make a very conscious effort to get to know each other and look after each other, and we're hoping that'll continue to show on the field as well.
I know that in some rugby teams and things like that, they do initiation periods to the players. Have the Knights got anything like that just to help the players settle in?
Yeah, you have to sing a song. I had to sing mine in Toulouse away last year. You pick your moments. I think, what the players do in the free time, I kind of leave them to it. But I know they've got a couple of initiations, and I think it's singing a song, and God knows what else.
Have there been any renditions that you've heard that you've been impressed by?
No, none. Gano thinks he's a bit of a rapper. Apart from that, I don't think anyone's actually impressed me with the singing, but it's good fun to watch, isn't it?
Moving on to Oldham then.
Yeah.
It's a newly promoted team, but as the Knights saw last season when they travelled to Doncaster first day of the season, it's not always as straightforward as that. First of all, how much of a sort of step up do you think it will be for them, and will there be that adjustment period for them?
It's a good question. As I've just said, I think Oldham's obviously got a plan and they're well on the way to executing that. I think they've signed great. I think they've got a great coach. I think Longy's a fantastic coach. They've definitely put some investment into the squad. There's a lot of Championship and Super League experience there. You look at a player like Matty Ashurst, who's played 300 Super League games, and he knows exactly what it's about. And obviously he had that season at Wakefield last year. You look at Drinkwater, who's just dropped out of Super League. He's got a genuine star talent in terms of the halves. Riley Dean's a young up-and-comer. You could go throughout the team, and just as they'll be doing with ours, you can say, they've got some strike there. So I don't think there'll be any settling in period for Oldham. I think they've signed wisely and they understand exactly what's needed in the Championship. I thought, Longy's obviously been in the Championship with Featherstone. I thought Featherstone had probably won that if they'd have had a bit more stability that year, if I'm honest with you. So he's a quality coach, he knows that, and we know we need to be at our best versus Oldham. We're expecting a tough game, but at the same time, we also know his own strengths, and we'll back ourselves as well.
Obviously, moving away from the friendlies, the Challenge Cup, you now have the opportunity to get the first league win of the season. How important is it for you, think, just to get some points on the board? Yeah,
I think everyone wants to start fast. I mean, you're not going to speak to any coach at this time of year that goes, I want to go none from 4 here. So we want to start as well as we can. We want to get that fast start, just as every team will, and Sunday's the perfect opportunity to do that, isn't it?
And a good amount of Knights supporters expected to join you on your trip over the Pennines. Have you got a message for them making that visit? No,
just thank you for your support. I thought the atmosphere were great on Friday night. I thought, as always, the Knights are banging the drum and giving us all support, and we'll do everything we can to, to give you something to continue cheering at.